In this tutorial, we will be preparing your website files for upload to your web host. At this point, you should have a web host. This is the control panel of the web host that you're looking at right now. And you should have a domain name that's been registered. You should also have your domain name service set to point to this web host. All right. If you don't know how to do that, take a look at some of my previous videos that explains it. It's really straightforward. Okay, so head on over to wordpress.org/download. The link is in the description below. Download the latest version of WordPress. And then a little bit about folder structure. So I keep a copy, one folder that's self-contained for every single website that I build or that I own. And the structure is like this. I have a basically new site folder structure. I just make a copy of it, and then I rename that to the actual name of the site or name of the domain. And basically everything that has to do with the site, all the site files, images, resources, everything is kept within this one self-contained folder. It just keeps things a little neat and clean, and makes it kind of good to be able to find things later on. So I'll give you a quick walkthrough of the file structure. I'll also have it for download on the site. So if you want to use it, feel free. If you don't want to use it, that's fine too. You can customize it to suit your own needs. This is just a suggestion. It's not the only way to do it. There's a backups folder, which sounds pretty self-explanatory. Inside which we have two folders, one for site files, one for databases. You save the backups of your databases from your website to this folder, as do you with the site files. Save all your site file backups to this folder here, right? Then resources, we have an audio, content, ideas, images, mockups, and a videos folder. All audio gets saved here. You have a source file, a source folder, where all your original audio source files get kept, and then after editing, before they're ready to be uploaded to the web, I save them to a web ready folder. All right, that keeps them kind of separated and keeps them neat. The same goes for the images folder. I have a source and I have a web ready. So if you do any modification to your images, you keep your source image here, and that way they're always intact. And then you have your final image that you've optimized and prepared for the web. Video, same thing, source and web ready. Mockups. Now this is for designers or developers that want to create custom code for the website. So this is where all the mockup files would go. This is useful for me because I actually design websites or develop websites. But for people who don't, who aren't going to be doing that, this folder might be a little excessive. Then you've got an ideas folder, which is just any kind of site planning, ways to monetize the site, that kind of thing. Then content, this is self-explanatory. Any content in development goes here, and any content that is live and that has been edited for the web goes into the live folder. All right. So that's it in a nutshell. What we'll do is I will save that WordPress file that I just downloaded to my backups, and then let's go to site files. I'll just drag that over. Alright, so now I have the WordPress files, and I usually would suggest that you, whenever you're doing any work on the web, it's always a good idea to have a file transfer program, an FTP program. And a good one that I would recommend is called FileZilla. The link will be in the description. So just download the client, and then I'm on a Windows 8 64-bit machine, so I'll download this. Okay, we want to keep that file. Show in folder. Oh, it looks like I've already downloaded this before. Okay, so I'm just going to install this guy. Double click on the downloaded executable. Say I agree. Do next. Just keep the defaults as is, it's fine. Next. And then I'm going to, since I already have an installation of this on my system, I'm just going to change the path here. Version 2. Say next. Install. Start FileZilla now. What you normally can do is, depending on the actual website host that you have, you can upload the files directly to your file manager. This would be the easiest way if you are using cPanel, and it's easy to tell whether you're using cPanel because it's a big cPanel logo in the top left corner of your control panel. Then you don't need to do this step. You can skip the FTP program, right, or downloading an FTP program. But for right now, since I know this host has given problems before with uploading a zip file, which is what we need to upload to the server, they make it kind of hard for you to extract files, and this method is not going to be reliable right now. Okay. Now, to walk you through there are two options or two ways you can go about uploading files to your web host. All right. One is the FTP program method, which we will use. The reason I'm going to show you the FTP method with FileZilla is you might be using a different host. You might have trouble, as I'm going to demonstrate. I happen to know, just from trying this a little earlier, that I cannot extract files using the control panel feature that is supposed to be able to extract files. But I'm going to demonstrate this just in case you happen to be able to do this. I would suggest doing it this way instead. Okay, so this is option 1. Go to File Manager. And by the way, if you are using a different web host that offers cPanel, you'll know that you are using cPanel by the big cPanel logo in the top left corner of your control panel. If you do, and you upload the file that's a compressed or a zip file, then there's a much simpler process, and I'll demonstrate that in a second here. So you want to click on Upload, that blue up arrow, browse to your WordPress zip file that you just downloaded earlier, open, then upload. Alright, when that's done, you should see the file appear here in your file system list. Now right here is where it should be relatively straightforward. For anybody that's using cPanel, okay, if you bought InMotion hosting, if you bought HostGator hosting, what you would do is you would just right click on this file, and there would be an option that would say extract, and you would just extract this file right here. Okay. But since this is iPage, there is another method that should be used in order to extract this file, because there's no way to do it inside this file manager. So go back to the home page, or to your control panel, home, and scroll down until you find Archive Gateway. And this tool will be used to basically extract that zip file. So select the zip file, choose your output directory with a / that represents the root directory. So it'll just dump all the files in this root directory here. Click extract or uncompress, and here's the error message. Okay, so for whatever reason this is not working right now. I don't know if there's a technical issue, but this is not working. And you will, from time to time, you will encounter these things. It's not always smooth sailing whenever you're doing anything on the web, which is why it's a good reason to know multiple ways to do something. Okay, so go to you in your control panel. You've logged in to your hosting account. Click on File Manager. And what I'm going to upload now is to the root directory, right? On the root directory, we are going to upload the WordPress zip file. So you upload files. So click on Browse. And then we're going to choose the WordPress zip file. Now, one word about zip files. When you're uploading anything to a web server, it is always best to upload a zip file if your web server can do the extraction. It goes a lot quicker. It's a lot simpler to just upload one file, and rather than a bunch of hundreds or thousands of folders and files, which this zip file does contain. Alright, so select the zip file, click open, and then do upload. Alright, when it's done, you should see it in the list here. And then what you need to do is go back up to additional tools, choose archive gateway. You can select that tool from here, or you can go back to your control panel, home, go scroll down, go to additional tools, and you can select it from there as well. Alright, so you want to select the file, the zip file, and then scroll down. The output directory will be just / because that's the root directory. If you wanted to extract it to another directory, you would put the directory path, or you would select it here and then copy the path from or just type the path from what you see at the top here. So since this is in the root directory, that's where it's outputting to, / and then hit extract. Alright, so now it's uncompressed. Right, you should get a success message. Let's go back to the file manager. Okay, so this is not what you want. You actually want the WordPress. If you only have one website per domain, what you want to do is you want to have the file contents in the root directory. Okay, you can delete this file now. So what you would do here is, if you needed to move the contents of this folder up one level, you would first go into the folder, select everything. I guess just scroll down, hold down Shift on your keyboard, left click, select all, and then you would move this. This is the move icon, and then / again to the directory where you're going to move these contents. Okay, so let's go up to the root again, and now you've got an empty WordPress folder here, which you can then just delete. Now, you don't have to do that last step of moving the file contents up one level. That is only if your zip file contains a folder that then contains all these contents. Okay, so sometimes your zip folder might just contain all the contents without packaging them all into another folder, in which case you just extract it and then you're done.